Shoot them all in the face.
Okay, no 10 seconds this evening.
Next day, you could stop.
You challenged him. What
Kinda.
did you expect?
No, I asked him if he was good, and he said he was fine. So I
That's
said, all right.
always the
That's the
Right.
challenge. Yeah.
It was not God, you men.
Threw down the
Good
gauntlet.
evening. Welcome back to BoomerRexTonight, your nearly daily source for news and politics. I'm losing my voice. Let me introduce Mr. Boomer Rex, our boomer.
Good evening.
Asshole.
Every boy learns
Millennial.
on his way, some way to manhood, that no, I'm good is how you get the other people to let you go so you can punch that motherfucker who needs to be punched.
And I am RisenLadyHeathen. They both eat, a female millennial, they both eat, sleep, and breathe politics, and I'm learning. We give you the facts from each of our three perspectives from our literal round table. Let's dig right into the headlines. North Macedonia. President
Every once in a
Yeltsin.
while, you run into a case where you see leadership so good it makes you tear up. Right? And this is exactly that case.
I'm still doubtful. Carry on.
So there's an 11-year-old girl with Down syndrome who was bullied on her way to school.
Cool.
And the president of her nation walked her to school.
I mean, I agree. Macedonia's president probably has a pretty open schedule, but what's he doing tomorrow?
Again, this is good leadership. He came to her town. He walked her to
Yeah,
school.
for sure. No, and I hope this works out. And this is unlikely to go bad the way some of the other stories we've heard like this do.
Yeah.
So, like, it's unlikely she's actually the bully, and like we just got the story sideways. But
Why do you have to fuck everything up?
because I never
That's why we
saw
call
the
him
world.
asshole.
All the older people tell me there once was. I just see this one slowly dying, where every year more of the dystopian, like, corporate, right, hellscapes we saw in the 80s would be a step the fuck up from where we are.
Oh, a huge step up.
All right, so
You
continue.
mean where they still had defined benefits pensions and still had,
That's what the
PTO.
cops were protesting in fucking that's what the cops were protesting in RoboCop.
Yeah.
Was the threat to their pensions, which ain't a thing. So, anyway. Yes, sorry.
He said
I thought
it
you were
is,
done there.
it is our obligation as a state, but also as individuals. And the key element in this common mission is empathy.
Part of my problem is I'm definitely on Team Iceland on this one.
It's Team Iceland.
Iceland doesn't have any Downs kids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
They have like two.
depending on when you consider having them, they just don't make it to the starting line.
Or they don't make it to the finish line. Well, it depends on how
Right.
you define start.
And no, I don't hurt anybody. And no, this is a beautiful story. I like this. But
I just want to know what good he thinks him walking her to school one day is going to do.
yeah, I didn't mean to steal your argument because I thought that was a really good one. So it's not actually me who fucked this up. It's all her.
No, I was
I
reading
was
the
gonna be
story and I
alright.
was trying to figure out, I was like, how am I going to work? Like,
I think it sets an example for people to think about.
If nothing
And
else, this
maybe
girl has the
North
phone
Macedo-
number of the president. So
Well, no, but-
Maybe North Macedonia is a better place.
I would have little trouble believing that.
but you mentioned some other stuff in that, so go ahead and finish your story.
No, that was the big thing.
No, but it says that he spoke to the parents and he's decided, ways that we could help this and stuff and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So you always skip the important parts. Like, just walking her to school is not the important part.
No,
That's like
that
a
was
side
The
Yeah,
note.
bullshit.
part.
Yes, but only if we're also kind of down with the fact that this girl's like, you have to sit her down and explain how a death squad works so she can accurately threaten people now.
Okay.
Because that is kind of the thing, right? I mean, do you actually think having a president walk someone to school is gonna, like, unless the fact is your family could get vanished, because I don't know what Macedonia is like. I will by the end of the podcast, but
No, I think that it was a wonderful gesture, but I feel like without the rest of the
I think our
stuff,
cup
like,
runneth over with wonderful gestures.
No,
As everything goes wrong, it gets a little
exactly,
worse.
but that's my point.
That Downs girl's gonna die from climate change.
I feel like without the rest, where he sat down with the parents and tried to work out a
You're right.
plan
You're no fun.
of how
I
they
know.
could whatever. That's
I bring
the
you a little
important
thing to
part.
smile about, and you stomp on it till it's just not there anymore.
No,
Salty
And then you talk about how we're all going to
aggressively
die
missed the
from...
only part that
And
mattered
salty
in that
earth so
story.
nothing good, no hopeful thing shall grow there for 1,000 years. I thought we'd just get in on, like, killing all the good things.
No, my only point is that there was some good stuff, but when you told the story, you just skipped over the part that actually could make a difference, which is him discussing with her and her family things that could be done to keep her from getting bullied and such. And that's the more important part. Walking down is the gesture, right? Sitting down with the parents is the act of actually doing something.
So it's just regular Macedonia with a name change. Good choice.
It used to be part of
Greece. Then in
Yugoslavia.
Yep. They in Greece signed whatever accords in whatever time.
Cool.
Cool.
2019.
Okay, so let's move on. Why we aren't taxing the rich. This is the explanation behind it, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
So anyway, if you poll Americans, somewhere between 65 and 75% of Americans say, tax the fucking rich. And the oligarchs absolutely don't care. And they don't care for a reason, which is they have spent 40 years now corrupting the country so that they have the lowest tax rates they've ever had. They're busily hiding income in various Caribbean banks and so forth. They do a trick called buy, borrow, die, right?
Cute.
Right, where you borrow against your investments, and then when you die, they pass to your family with, through various.
The whole sins of the father thing.
Yeah.
But different.
Yep. Anyway, but the point is that their power and wealth have given them a tremendous ability to influence the world they live in. And they use that power and wealth all the time. And they have one party they totally own, right? So you have the Build Back Better Act. 50 Republicans voted against, or all of the Republicans voted against that. All of them.
Of course they did,
So-
because why do they want better bridges and stuff? Like, this doesn't help them in any way. They don't give a fuck.
That's exactly, and it doesn't put more money in the pockets of their owners in hopes that their owners will. That's the only place trickle down works. Is the billionaires seem to trickle down a little bit to the politicians just to keep them on the team.
And it really is. Because they are not, like, the bribes getting paid to politicians.
Or nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're impressive to 1%ers, but they are nothing to shorten that gap between the 1% and the 1% of the 1%.
Yeah. No, it's pocket
They
change.
let you see the pretty
It's like
houses.
It's like the charitable gifts they're always talking about that are absolutely, literally pocket change to the billionaires.
Yeah.
Right? That's what they had
Yeah.
in their bank.
Even Musk's thing of $5 billion, while impressive,
Yeah.
isn't a meaningful fraction of his total wealth.
Nor is it a meaningful fraction of his income last year.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what
if
this
he had
was.
paid 70% taxes on that income last year, it would have been much
Money would have
much bigger than a paltry $5 billion. So
with way better
screw
throughput
him.
to actual problems.
Yeah. So anyway,
Fuck my life. North Macedonia has a better Gini score than we do, or whatever it is.
of course they do.
I know, but I want to know by how much, and I don't want to talk about it now. They're 96. We're 138. That's a lot. There's a lot of countries that I can't think, like, I can think of a name, but
Yeah.
fuck, man.
We should mention that what Gini score, Gini, and you can look it up on Wikipedia, is a measure of the inequity of distribution of wealth, right? Both as income and as holdings. And so, yeah, the U.S. is much worse than any European country. And you want to know who else we're worse than now?
Oh my God. Yeah, what?
We're worse than Mexico.
Oh, I believe
That's
it.
the country we used to laugh at.
Motherfucker, Tanzania's
about
doing
their-
better than us. Tajikistan.
Yeah.
And I will get at some
doing
point
better.
when you
Oh
have
my
one
God.
shoe to split between a whole country, that's a whole other thing. But
Yeah.
no, I was thinking, oh yeah, Turkmenistan is better than us. I'm gonna burn my own eyes out. Excuse me, and I'm sorry. We're number 168, but don't worry, it's getting better. There's some of our old friends are moving to our neighborhood now.
Oh.
United Kingdom 167.
The UK actually has an excuse. The UK has a long-standing class structure that has gradually worn away. So now you're going to tell me UK's been getting worse.
Well, oh Jesus, yes. And for the obvious reason, right? That the way we determine CEO pay is by averaging out shitheads in your field.
Yeah.
And our CEOs in that field, even though against a global average is a small number.
Yep.
The
That they
pay
influence
is
the
so amazing.
No, we're gradually exporting the oligarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it might be time to stop. Why else don't we tax the wealthy? Well, among other things, that Build Back Better included a substantial increase in IRS budget so that the IRS could actually go get some of the taxes that the wealthy, they're not even taxed heavily, and they still don't pay their fair share.
Yeah. Okay.
But they can hire the absolute best lawyers, and they go into court and
Well,
stomp the IRS.
They don't hire lawyers
We
by the
wouldn't have to-
individual.
I
They
know.
hire the graduating class from Harvard.
No, they hire a firm.
Yes.
No, and I feel like that should be not allowed. You should be allowed only what anybody else could afford. So if the poorest person in IRS fights the poorest person, whatever they could afford, that's what you get. So if that's a public defender, that should be all you get for tax whatever.
It's civil. I'm not even sure you're guaranteed a lawyer. No, because it'd be criminal if it's IRS. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, no, it's the IRS.
No, you got to equal it out somehow, and the only way to do that is by saying,
Right.
poorest person in America can only afford this.
The
That's what
lifetime
everybody
it would
gets.
take to
Right.
Discussion.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
I didn't say it was going to happen. I'm saying that
Yeah.
there's got to be a way to equal this out, and that seems like
Okay.
a pretty simple thing to put
Yeah.
in
So
there.
IRS audits of the wealthy have dropped by
Taxing them and
60%.
intelligence findings.
Have dropped by 60% in the last 10 years. It's just they don't bother to audit them anymore
Nope.
because they know they can't win.
We
So-
assembled the absolute A team in the early period of Barack Obama,
Yeah.
and baby Bush even tried it. Right? Same thing, right? Absolute the best lawyers you could find working in federal service, and even some contract lawyers we could bring in who, I don't know, these assholes had killed their family or something. They were like a lawyer on a mission. Yeah. And they simply got stomped the first day.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you might want to remember that the Build Back Better Act, which included that beefed up IRS
Oh, yeah.
funding, that was scuttled
Yep.
by Senator Joe Manchin, who said he was worried that poor parents would spend money on drugs, and they don't even bother to make their objections serious.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I agree.
No, he was paid for
West
that
Virginia's
vote.
got a fucking hell of a heroin problem.
Yep.
This isn't doing anything to help it. And I'm pretty sure there were several
No.
things in Build Back Better that might have.
Yep, a little bit. But hey, Manchin's a coal baron.
Yep.
So.
Hi, what's the worst that could happen? Right? Again, he's afraid of lawsuits.
No.
They're heading us to a world where they will learn that's not the worst thing that can happen.
No, this whole thing just gives me a goddamn headache
Yeah.
every time I look at it, because it's just like, this could be fixed. It's so easy to fix this. The problem is that we allow companies to donate and give money to these
So now
people,
you are-
and that allows
Right.
them to be bought, and that allows their whatevers to be swayed one way or another, which has absolutely nothing to do with the constituents who voted for them.
Nope.
And that's some bullshit.
Yep.
And now you understand the frustration of the Trump supporters, is they've watched this happen year after year after
In
year after
wildly
year
worse
after year.
places. In places
Yes.
where, in the test bed for this.
Yeah. So anyway, their anger, their frustration's totally understandable.
We're right to
The
work.
fact that they're voting for Republicans is just idiocy.
Oh, but
And I know
don't
the
you know they're going
Republicans
to make
come-
it all better? They're going to lower taxes.
They'll bring
only
God
for
back.
the rich. They're going to do this stuff, but it's only going to help the wealthy. They're going to give you a whole $500, but not really, and that's not really going to help you.
Oh,
out.
even if
Only
they
for
give
6
you
months.
500, they're going to give 500 million to the wealthy. We
Yeah.
give $1,200 checks to working folks. We gave $4 trillion to the stock market.
That's not even, you could have solved any we could have solved big problems.
With $4 trillion? No
yeah.
shit.
We could have gone
Oh,
to
and now they're
Mars
getting,
a
now they're
couple of
getting set to
times.
do it again, right? Because you know who wants interest rates raised?
The rich.
The rich.
Who have
And you
piles
know
of money.
where the cost of those interest rate
The
rises
rich and
land?
the hard scrabble kids who had just enough to kind of retire if you squint real fucking hard and everything kind of breaks their way. Right? If their body promises not to give out on them in the next 20 years, they might make it.
No, fucking everybody.
But that's who we're talking, right? That is the like heart and soul, like the not fucking kids that want to fight me on the street parts of the base.
Yeah.
No, all these Republicans have turned on Biden, and they were against him from the beginning, so this isn't whatever. But now all of a sudden they're blaming him for prices going up and blah, blah, blah. Do you know why the prices are going up? Because of all the money that your Republican shitheads gave to these rich people, and now they want more.
Well, and, you know, McDonald's has raised the price of a Big Mac by 40%. All right?
Since when?
So here's my bet. Over the last year, I think it's pretty recent. So here's my bet: is if you go look at these food service, you know, McDonald's and Burger King, and you know,
All the fast food kids.
yeah, that what you'll see is that they made more profit on less units,
Oh yeah.
right? And when you see that, you know they raised prices. And now you've got all these Republicans going, see, inflation. There's too much money in circulation. No. You've got a bunch of companies that recognize as soon as you say the word inflation, they can start raising prices. And
Yep.
that's what they're doing.
Well, and it will serve their interest long term to make it right. Anything in the economy look bad.
In other words, the real numbers, when people start talking about inflation, that people need to look at is look at your top corporations and what their profit margins have been during the quote unquote inflation time. Because if they're
Yeah.
making more money, I promise you that's not inflation.
Yeah.
That's just them saying, oh, people are talking about inflation. As you said,
Yeah.
raise the prices.
Let's make some more money.
Let's make some money.
No, but
Gotta
one of
love
the
it.
other things
How do
we
you
need to talk about that contributes to the rage in the Republican base is the fact that Right to Work made it perfectly legal to make 50 plus employees not exist anymore.
Yeah.
Right, Amazon routinely raises the units per whatever, or is accused of, I should
Yeah.
say. I don't know if they've lost that lawsuit yet or not, but I would have little trouble believing it based on my personal experiences in other retail environments of
Yeah.
how the old get treated.
Yep. Got to get rid of them.
Yep. Well, they're the only ones who are going to get sick in a way that's off expensive if they're on your goddamn insurance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back when that could happen. So,
That's how you make it work.
all right.
So-
All right, I think we've talked that one out. Tell me about, tell me about opt out of Black History Month.
So this is one I saw, and I decided I just wanted to tell y'all about, and then we can talk about it.
I would pull my imaginary child out of a school over that.
I already offered to help homeschool my nephew.
An Indiana school provides parents with an opt-out of Black History Month. All right. Spernica Elementary School, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce that town, Indiana, has taken an unusual step of giving the parents the option to cancel Black History Month. In a letter, the principal explains that he will be coming around and teaching lessons related to equity, caring, understanding differences. These lessons will occur during the weeks of February 14th to 25th. And the letter continues, these lessons can provide a great impact on students and help facilitate a better environment for all. But if you don't want your child to hear it, sign them out.
How do you sign out of a whole month's worth of lessons?
I think you just sign out of these.
Yeah, it's like the
They're
kids.
teaching them in a separate classroom now? That's
It's
ridiculous.
like the kids
He's
that.
teaching it, so yes, they're in a separate classroom.
It's like the kids whose parents opted them out of sex ed. You didn't have any of those?
Oh, I had friends who were opted out of sex ed, but that was a
same
class
trick.
that we took, and they just put
So
them in
is
another
this.
room
Yeah.
and showed them a movie or something.
Yeah. This would
This is
be,
a
I assume,
series
be
of
treated like
classes.
health class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, when we did Black History, it was just in history. It was part of history class.
Even if
I
it
know.
is, they're going to right. You're just asking logistically. It will be the kids who are opting out. Please leave the room, like
Yep.
the sex ed kids.
Yep.
It's fucking
Absolutely.
lame.
So is this a good thing or a bad thing?
This is a retarded, stupid thing.
Doing it's a
all
bad
related
thing?
to critical race theory. And it
Yeah,
makes
exactly.
it fucking
Well, of course, that's the whole point.
The hippie
Right.
shithead in me wants to go. Fuck it, man. They gotta be able to opt out of stuff. On the other hand,
No,
you're a bad human for doing it.
I disagree.
absolutely.
I don't feel
I'm
like
gonna
No
ask my
question.
kids to take names of the kids who
if
weren't
you
in the room.
if you can't opt out of taking math, if you can't opt out of taking history, if you can't,
Oh,
opt
I
out of
think they
taking
They
should
can't hang out with those kids.
I
think
I'm not
they-
I'm
I-
threatening those kids.
I think they should absolutely be able to opt out of taking math and history.
Yep.
No,
They're not going anywhere anyway. Why give them any tools? and we'll let the kids who do math and history run the world, and the other ones can push brooms.
That gets interesting, and I
First
need
of
to
all,
talk
yeah,
to somebody who knows more about the religions we've didn't to be damaging.
I'm just gonna say I don't agree or appreciate the pushing brooms comment because we've had this discussion. But
Yeah, and they're not. They're right. They believe in an entirely different system. Their parents are going to work somewhere and make friends with whoever they can. Like, those kids are going to do okay-ish. No, if that's the case, I want to start making a virus tomorrow.
Okay.
If we're just going to end it, let's just end it.
Okay.
Because I can do that easy.
No, and my proposal was extreme.
So, no, we can't have both sides say burn it down at the same time.
I know. So when you catch me saying burn it down, which I say occasionally,
Fair.
like a minute ago,
All right.
you know, at sometimes I lose my sympathy.
Yeah, no, and I'm sympathetic to that because a lot of this started from me coming in mornings and setting you off.
Yeah, I know. Thanks a bunch. I really wanted to tell you how much I appreciated the.
I come over less often in the mornings to set you off. Now I do it right before you go to bed.
Oh, well, fine.
well, but we get to bitch about it on our podcast. So yay, podcast.
All
say hi
right,
to
so
our good
that's
friends.
enough on the think piece.
All right, tell me about.
Space ninjas.
So anyway, tell me about dumbass of the day.
All right, so as all those right-wing militants and other Donald Trump supporters battled law enforcement at the Capitol, one of the alleged organizers was wondering why the president stood idly by. Oath Keepers co-founder Stuart Rhodes,
Yep.
who's charged with seditious conspiracy,
Oh yeah.
confirmed a new court filing that members of the militia expected Trump to invoke the Insurrection Act to put down the violence.
He has said in an interview. Oh, sorry. Let me know when you're done, and then I will tell you more because I have a great deal to say about Mr. Rhodes.
All I see is Trump complaining, right? I see no attempt by him to do anything. So the patriots are taking it into their own hands. They've had enough.
Yep. No, in several interviews leading up to January 6th, he was all about literally saying we are looking forward to being brown shirts for Trump.
Yes, absolutely.
The fact that they're invoking that as not a bad thing should concern the living shit about everyone who has any kind of positive feeling towards a militia other than, look, I'm fine that like some militias exist somewhere when I don't hear about them or see them. It's like anime. I'm
But when
glad
they
it-
come out and prance
but
around in
they're
their
greatly
little
useful
cosplay.
for some Second Amendment shit that I disagree with my party on.
Yeah.
So, because I think Americans should be able to own miniguns. Because you know what? If you can rob a fucking 7-Eleven with a minigun, that was yours 7-Eleven to begin with.
Yeah.
On the other hand, remember, we're going to respond in kind. So if you have a minigun and they drone strike you, I don't give a shit
Oh,
about
shucks.
posse comitatus.
Yeah.
Because that drone doesn't have a soul, so it's not bound by laws.
That's right.
No, I'll tell you this all this Trump crap, okay? And this is exactly what it is. People are digging it up and they're all acting surprised. I'm not surprised when this shit comes out. I knew
No.
it. I was waiting for somebody to dig it up. But the problem is that it doesn't fucking matter.
Nope.
They're not going to do anything about it. So as long as they're not going to fucking do anything about it, why does it matter and why are they bothering?
Yeah.
This is all just a waste
Well,
of time.
we'll see what kind of.
Because he's
sentence they
actually
whip
got some
on this
charges
dude.
on him.
Yeah.
This is the one I would hit over the fence. This is one I would do something, right? I would do, the sentence should be something that makes me go, shit, man, that might be too much.
Yeah.
Right? I
There you
don't
go.
think he should spend the rest of his natural life in confinement, but I'm okay if he spends a week thinking that's going to be the answer.
Yep. So anyway, I read this and I am so sorry, but my whole response is, seriously? Seriously? You patriots thought Trump was going to back you up? Do you not know Donald Trump? This is a man without morality, a man without loyalty, a man without ethics. He has wrecked
That's why I'm not
every
afraid of
single
Trump. I don't
partner
think
he's
special.
ever had. Yeah. So,
No, he's not Holloway, who has special training in fascist documents written under fascists by people who knew their resistance was going to lead to their murder.
Yep.
And they resisted anyway. And he came away with that class knowing nothing except maybe how better to find the people who resist him when his time comes.
right. So I will point out that now that we're actually investigating the January 6th and putting charges against some folks and so on, you have the Republican National Committee describing
Yep.
what was happening as legitimate political discourse, but they're not talking about you clowns who were at the Capitol.
Oh, they're
Talking about the alternate slates of electors, and that's who they're defending.
those middle-class workers.
They're defending the white-collar insurrectionists, and they're going to let you die on the vine.
That was your job. You guys were supposed to make it so horrific and bloody, America looked away for 36 seconds or however long it took for the Supreme Court to go, all that matters. Because at some level, all organs of government will betray you if they believe that it will continue the Union for 64 more seconds. Right. Stability is worth anything. That has been our foreign policy for the last 100 years.
So I have to wonder, at what point do you learn your lesson that Donald Trump is not one of you? Donald Trump laughs at you behind your back.
When the fuck did the Democrats learn their lesson and start running some candidates that sound a lot like Bernie Sanders?
But I think
don't say dumb shit like, I'm a democratic socialist.
I think there is...
which works in Vermont. Love the man, but...
I think there's some guilt on the other side as well. At what point do the Trump supporters stop looking at people who put on their little Halloween costumes with their little American flag pins and come down and shout, lock her up, lock her up.
And they never managed to.
Yeah, because they never had any intention of.
That's what I don't understand, is why do you keep going back to that disappointing
up?
well? Right? Even if you're not going to vote for Democrats because we all have too many pronouns or whatever, fine, sure, I don't really care. But it concerns me watching Americans do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
I should think that watching your country fall into the pit of fascism, that watching your country decide that workers have no rights, I should think
that a guy can safely walk
would
around
bother you more than some gay or transgendered person who just wants to be treated like a person. And if you've ever known one, they're people.
That's always the other problem.
And they do know them. They just aren't trusted enough. I know.
Yes. No, and that's tragic, but they're not ever going to see the tragedy in it because, right, they're avoiding physical pain. No, back to the other side of it is, I don't think the brain sees it as, right, it's tribes. We can understand tribes. Political parties, we just say it's tribes with more syllables.
Yeah.
And I think at some very basic level, the very, very basic, like the first line of human is kill. The second line is take from the others. Right. And if you can get some to agree to go with you to go take from the others, then we can all be the same us. We can be one organism.
Yep.
And that's...
if working folks would just figure out they're all one organism and they've been cheated for 40 years, wake the hell up. Demand that the Democrats run people who are actually serious about doing something for you. By the way, there definitely are some, but there aren't enough.
Yeah.
Well, and recognize there's not a single Republican who's on your team, not fucking one.
I need a phrase that's not ephemera, but means kind of, what's the not rude version of ephemera?
Ephemeral?
Yeah, fine.
Transitory.
Yes. I need the left to stop getting sucked into these transitory fights that make us come off as preachy and judgmental.
Yes.
When we shout about, right, people's pronouns and stuff, because you know what? You're not going to get some of the assholes to do it, and you're certainly not going to get some of them to do it when they're correcting.
What is... When you get propositioned by a gay guy, what is the appropriate response?
Oh my God, thank you, but I'm not interested.
Exactly. It happened to me in a bar in San Francisco during a conference.
Yeah.
And the bartender was convinced I was gay. And he was thunderstruck
when
I said,
no, gave him the nod.
Whatever.
I know, I'm not, that wasn't a bad thing. But yeah. Or
anyway,
you saying you were propositioned by the bartender?
I was propositioned by the bartender.
No, I thought there was a third party here, and I'm saying the bartenders who gave the guy the heads up. I'm like, yeah, this guy over here.
Oh, okay.
Tap you some businessman.
So, anyway. No, he made it very clear that there was an invitation there and so forth, and I said, I'm very flattered.
Yeah.
Right? But
seeing gay guys, they are cute. I would love to be that
That's
cute.
not my thing.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm sorry. And he said, no big deal, wandered off.
I don't understand why people get so offended by that sort of thing.
I don't either.
Yeah, I've been more...
I mean, I'm pretty confident that I'm a cis hetero.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not saying that's better than anything. That's just what I am. And
yeah. Again, this is what I don't understand about why any of us care about any of that shit. Why can't you all just agree you only care about the people who want to fuck you? Right. And the Venn diagram of the people you want to fuck.
Yes.
And that's it.
And
the
where
rest
those
of them
collide,
die.
you've arrived.
I don't care.
Yeah.
You could turn them into ice cream. If I had to wish, that's what would happen. But it's not. So
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Omicron. You got some BoomerRex updates for us.
No, I've got dumbasses du jour.
nope.
Oh shit! We were talking dumbass of the day.
No, we were talking about damn time.
I missed them.
Who
So
knows?
anyway, I have two dumbasses du jour. This is wonderful. So, Mike
That was what
Lindell
happened.
has this big thing, pillows for truckers.
Oh yeah.
And so he sent his pillows
How
for
are you this
truckers.
dumb? Yeah.
He sent his pillows for truckers convoy to Canada to give pillows to the truckers. And they got to the Canadian border and they weren't vaccinated and they weren't allowed in Canada.
Yep.
They turn them around. He says to go,
How are you this fucking stupid? How did you not go to them and go, look, I know some of you are going to be turned into gay alligators or whatever happens when you get vaccinated. I don't know.
but I need a couple of vaccinated guys to drive me a truck.
Right? You promised not to put liquid intelligences in the pillows or whatever Mike Lindell thinks
I
is
would
going
guess
on.
Mike Lindell doesn't know anybody who is vaccinated, which suits me fine. Whoops,
I'm sure
wait a
he
minute, I'm going
does.
dark again. So,
I'm just not. I don't know. Maybe dark is what wakes up the boomers. That's my big question. On all this is like a little bit. I need someone who can talk to the boomers because I can get any room of millennials. Right? I can work a mob of
Oh, fine,
millennials in
okay.
about 20 minutes.
Yep. So anyway, they get to the border. They're asked for all their personal stuff and their ID and their yada, yada, yada. And then they ask them for a vaccine card. And they sat them on the other side of the room for 2 hours and then sent them away.
And apparently, we're very like cold and bureaucratic to them, which
Yeah.
they didn't like.
Oh, shucks.
I don't know. Have you been detained often at border things? Are they nicer
I-
the other times?
Oh, God.
Well, and you have to imagine these Canadians are done with anti-vaxxers.
Oh, yeah.
They don't want to deal with this shit no more.
Yeah.
Canada's got an 80-something vaccination rate.
And their truckers are 90%.
I know. No, it's great that these
So
crazy
pretty much any
protocol-
old Canadian trucker would have worked. But, you know, you
Huh?
got Mike Lindell. So.
Maybe that's it. Like, I'm not hoping something goes bad in Canada, but like if it went bad in Canada, Canada would react ghastly
Yeah.
and do something, and maybe we could use that to get some public sentiment going against. Guys, it's getting really crazy now. Like sooner, right? There's a reason why U.S. and Russian forces, well, U.S. and Soviet forces didn't fuck around too close to each other because you could get everything fucked up. That's where we are now, right? We are one mass shooting away from I don't know what the fuck happens.
So anyway, I got another dumbass of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, Trump donor Peter Thiel, right?
Yeah.
Funds all kinds of
Scumbag
right-wing
billionaire.
horseshit. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I said the same word twice.
He was one of the former, Donald Trump, top donors for 2016. He's reportedly funding Right Stuff. Everybody know what Right Stuff is?
I don't. What is it?
It's a conservative dating app. I guess you have to have the idiot beard to join. I don't know. I think this is fabulous. I mean, you can call this Incel World.
I'm gonna call this catfishing in a barrel.
I thought that was my first response when I saw this is I'm going to have an account on there and I'm going to fuck with some people. But I suppose that's not
Agreed.
nice.
No, it's not nice.
If we're gonna
to
do that, we're
to
doing
do.
it on one of the Richie Rich dating apps.
Okay. Sugardaddy.com.
No, that's like medium.
Yeah, that's the.
That's guys looking to pay girls.
Yeah, but that's the
Yeah,
kind of
it's not
scumbag
a
that
lot
has a
of
Swiss
money.
account. That's not real rich.
Oh, okay.
That's I own 2 laundromats rich.
Ah.
I want to go after the Bob Kraft looking motherfuckers.
Yeah, that's I have my own business or whatever. Yeah, that's not rich. That
So-
we're not talking billionaires.
Anyway, you got to love it. The whole idea of segregating them into a dating app so that, normal women can avoid them like the fucking plague is perfect.
Oh yeah.
Sounds good to
So,
me.
yeah.
Oh,
We may have found the way to
shit.
breed them out of the
Oh
population.
shit. Yeah, no, because they're dumb. They're sloppy on security. They're using the same email addresses on multiple accounts.
Oh, yeah.
They're damn.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody smart who wanted to make a lot of money. Here you go, internet, free ideas. Could cross-reference that
Yeah.
and start letting people, without interacting with them, down-check them early.
Yeah.
Because again, I've seen the mathematics on it. There is not enough chance for you to find, right? If you have a soulmate, you're never going to see each other.
Right. Nope, just love it. So, anyway,
All right. So now are we moving?
Get
on
them
to
off in
Omicron?
their little walled city, and that's cool.
Yeah.
So now I have something about Omicron.
Yes.
What's going
Just
on?
kind of interesting. And I understand how we got where we are.
Yeah. We should have taken that left at Albuquerque.
Right.
Early on, a lot of women who were pregnant declined the vaccine.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have any data. Well, now we have some data.
I saw.
And it says that if you are vaccinated when you're pregnant, it reduces your child's likelihood of hospitalization in the first 6 months by 61%.
Right?
So,
What if you get pregnant after you've been vaccinated?
fine.
Do they still get the antibodies?
They're going to get whatever antibodies you've got.
Yeah, you share a blood supply. So.
Right.
Yeah. So, and you share a blood supply that is across the placenta, which is designed to let
Get
some of
things
those
through.
immunities through.
Yeah, that and breast
So-
milk.
Yeah. So,
Cool. Good to know.
yep.
All
So
right.
way to go, Omicron.
Yeah, that's great. So you got a couple of climate weirding things here.
Oh, yeah. Well, just,
Surf's up.
yeah. This one's kind of annoying. So we've got a lot of banks, right, that are running around promising net zero and so forth and so on. Well, it turns out they're many of them are pouring money into coal operations. Japan and China are the two biggest direct contributors, right? And they're pouring them into coal operations that are not talking about net zero in any way, shape, or form, right?
Well, there's about to be a big divergence in profit.
All of the top 10 underwriters were Chinese, with the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China in first place. So anyway, just, you know,
I find interesting because China is acknowledged.
no surprise, BlackRock is at the top of
Oh,
the
yeah.
U.S. list.
Oh no, I thought he was one of the good billionaires, as though such a thing exists. Scratch a billionaire and find a lizard person or
Just
something
gotta
crazy.
love it. Yeah. Lizard person?
No, because that's actually from the crazies who.
Yeah.
It's just a fucking Pez dispenser garbage.
Yeah.
Pez being the protocols of the elders. I fucking.
And
Rawr.
based on tree ring studies, the drought in the U.S. West is the worst it's been in the last 1,200 years. And that's how far the tree ring database goes back. So,
Well, we should cut down that one tree that's older than everything and count its rings.
Yeah. so anyway.
Oh.
It's blue oak trees are used for the tree ring
Bye,
studies.
trees.
Okay. All right. Are we ready to talk about taxes again?
Sure.
You know what I'm going to miss most when I'm your age?
What?
Trees.
What?
I think the trees are all going to be gone.
Oh.
All right. So first, let's give y'all a quick reminder of what was going on in the 90s. It's been a while. So Los Angeles riots, the Oklahoma City bombing, the Columbine
yeah.
shooting,
Yeah, I definitely remember
the Bosnian genocide,
that. Yeah.
Monica Lewinsky scandal.
Wow.
If you ever want to know what civil war in America is most likely to look like, Bosnia is not a bad thing to research. It's one of the few times where the war split family units, which is not the historical average.
Yugoslavia did much the same
Yeah.
thing.
Also, the Waco siege
I can't remember that.
and Ruby Ridge.
Cool.
Two clusterfucks if anyone ever saw one.
Yeah, so there was a lot of crazy stuff going on back then. Okay, so now Let's
Clusterfuck is a
talk
two-part command.
taxes.
Preparatory command is cluster.
Yeah, and we
Command
did.
of execution is fuck.
Well, we're going to cause some of those. If we go hard, right, hammer and tongs after the white supremacists and shit in this country, we're going to jam people up the same way we did the cat in Ruby Ridge. Who, when you live out in rural America, your neighbors are who your neighbors are, so.
all right, so what are your bets for what's going on in the 90s, if either you even remember?
I touched a boob.
No, tax-wise, dum-dum.
I don't care about that. I liked my thing better.
I touched the
Tax-wise,
boob, too.
I expect
There, and
They-
it wasn't
they-
mine.
That's pretty awesome. The one I touched wasn't mine either. And it wasn't yours. Now what?
We'll
That would
see.
not have been mine. I didn't know you then. That would have been weird.
I think we're going to see some further erosion in tax rates for the
Yep.
rich,
Glass-Steagall
but
gets
I think
repealed.
we're also getting to the point where there's not a lot of room left to do that unless you go after Social Security and
Yeah.
Medicare,
Well-
which of course the Republican Party have promised they will do.
Yep.
So
Got to cut those entitlements that you paid for, so I don't really think we should call them entitlements.
but hey,
I guess if the media is
turns
going to
out
let
there are a
that
lot
be the
of
way we
people who
define
just
words,
repeat what their little
just whatever they heard from
cosplay
the dumbest
politicians
people.
tell them. Yeah.
All right, so just a quick reminder, we're getting this information from taxpolicycenter.org.
Okay.
Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act of 1990. This is a long one. Excise tax increases.
Of course.
Impose a 30% excise tax on the amount of price over $30,000 for autos, $100,000 for boats, $250,000 for airplanes, and $10,000 for furs. This was back when people still wore fur.
So we found some stuff that the rich people were buying that we could make cheaper.
Increased motor fuels taxes by 5 cents per gallon.
There you go. That's a
Increased
nice working class tax cut.
taxes
Question
on
mark?
tobacco and alcohol beverages
Of course.
by 8 cents per pack of cigarettes, by $1 per proof gallon of liquor. What? Per proof?
Per proof gallon. It's fine. Go ahead.
By 16 cents per 6-pack of beer, and by 18 cents per bottle of table wine. Extended airport and airway trust fund taxes and increased them by 25%. Permanently extended 3% excise tax on telephone service.
Of course.
So it's just 1 gallon, and that's just talking about liquor in general, but they're calling it proof
What they're
liquor.
talking about is a proof gallon. So if you're at 100 proof, you're going to pay a gallon for a dollar for that extra for that gallon. If you're at 50 proof, you're going to pay 50 cents extra for that gallon.
Okay, fine. Okay,
So-
that makes sense. Fine.
Are we at 92 yet?
Still talking the Omnibus Budget Reconciliation
Yeah.
of 1990.
Yeah, I had to look the thing up.
Individual income tax rate increases. Increased top statutory tax rate from 28% to 31%, and increased the individual alternative minimum tax rate from 21 to 24%. Capped the capital gains rate at 28%. Limited value of high income itemized deductions reduced by 3% times the extent to which AGI exceeds 100,000. Modified the bubble. Temporarily created the personal exemption phase out applicable to the range of taxable income between 150,000 and 275,000. Payroll tax increases, raised the cap on taxable wages for hospital insurance, Medicare, from $53,400 to $125,000.
A step in the right direction.
Extended Social Security taxes to state and local employees without other pension coverage. Imposed a supplemental 0.2% unemployment insurance surtax. Earned income credit tax expansion and other low income credits. Adjusted earned income tax credit benefit levels and phase in and phase out rates for family size. Created a low income credit for the premium costs of health insurance that includes coverage for children. Income tax based erosion, extended expiring provisions tax credits for research and exploration, low income housing, business energy, targeted jobs, and orphan drugs, tax exemptions for mortgage revenues and issue bonds, exclusions for employer-provided legal and educational assistance, and 25% of health insurance deduction for the self-employed. Extended and created new energy producer tax benefits, extended non-conventional fuels credit and tax incentives for ethanol production, created a new credit for enhanced oil recovery costs, amended percentage depletion, reduced alternative minimum tax preference treatment of energy items, created a small business oriented credit for accommodations for disabled persons, modified estate freeze rules, eliminated appreciation of certain donated property as a minimum tax preference item. Miscellaneous revenue raisers permitted transfers from overfunded pension plans for retiree health, added chemicals subject to ozone depleting chemicals tax, reimposed leaking underground storage tank trust fund tax, reduced loss deductions by property and casualty insurance companies, improved IRS ability to obtain information from foreign corporations, increased harbor maintenance tax, reduced business income tax loopholes.
So that one was kind of split. You could see a lot of things that are going to go straight at the middle class. There was a 3% increase in the top tax bracket. So,
Oh, remember, and that was going to bring the end to everything.
yep. Well,
That was
where
the
did
read my lips, no new taxes.
Yeah.
Right, we're still in 90.
Yeah.
Okay. 94 I care about, so poke me with a stick when we get there in case I'm not looking up.
Tax Extension Act of 1991.
See, now they're writing one every year
Mm-hmm.
because now the PACs are working and the contributions are flowing in
Yep.
and folks are buying.
Well, that started
Benefits.
in the 80s. I mean, they made so many tax laws.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, and that's the other thing is they also know that the government's got to get paid. Right, there are actually some shit you have to do. The first day you miss on payday from the to the U.S. military, you need to do an inventory right now.
Yeah.
Because one, those numbers aren't going to come out right, and two, we need to know that, and you need to count all your troops because I think that number is also not going to be right.
All right, so Tax Extension Act of 1991, tax provision extensions provided a 6-month extension for a number of tax provisions and credits facing expiration. Categories included research tax credits, exclusions for employer-provided educational assistance, targeted jobs credit, alternative energy credits, itemized deduction for health insurance costs, drug clinical testing credits, insurance authority for mortgage revenue bonds, certificates and manufacturing farm facility construction, credit for charitable contributions of appreciated tangible property, sorry. Then we go right to 1993. Did you have something for 92?
Nope, 94.
Okay.
There's an interesting anniversary in 92 of 1972. We allowed the backdating of stock options. We screwed it up on a technicality, and then we just started codifying it after that.
Yep.
But 94 is where a real interesting thing happens.
Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act of 1993. Individual income tax rate increases impose new higher tax rates of 36% and 39.6%. Increased tax rates and exemption amounts under the AMT. Permanently extended the itemized deduction limitation and the personal exemption phase out, legalized in OBRA in 1990. Corporate tax rate increases, increased corporate tax rate to 35% on income above 10 million.
Right.
Hospital insurance wage cap, repealed the cap on the high tax base set at 135,000 in 1993. So the high tax applies to all income. Social Security benefit taxation expansion expanded the taxable portion of Social Security benefits from 50% to 85%. When modified, AGI goes above 44,000 for joint returners and 34,000 for single returners. Motor fuel tax increased fuel taxes by 4.3 cents per gallon, plus extended the current motor fuel tax of 2.5 cents per gallon. reduced business meals and entertainment deduction, IETC expansion, extended EITC, sorry, to single workers with no children earning $9,000 or less. And then Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act of 1993. Wait, that's what we just read, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, cool. Because I had to scroll down, and
Yes.
then when I scrolled up, I was like, okay.
Now we skipped to 96. Cool.
Yeah, so go.
But in 1994, one of the things that happened was tax divisions declared all executive income levels over $1 million to be unreasonable in order to increase taxes on all applicable salaries. Fuck
Right.
yeah, way to go. That sounds dope. So instead what they did was start doing backdating company stock
options. Yep.
and issuing at the money stock options in lieu of additional income. So it's straight convertible to cash.
But not taxed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or taxed at whatever capital gains
Capital
was at that
gains.
point.
Yep. Yep.
And I don't know, if you don't hold it, do you pay capital gains on it?
You.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Taxpayer Bill of Rights 2 of 1996.
Yes, you pay capital gains. You held it over a year. If you
The point
held
is,
it less than a year,
The 15% is low enough compared to
Yeah.
the income tax
Right.
on it.
yeah.
Taxpayer Advocate. Established position of Taxpayer Advocate within the IRS, replacing Taxpayer
Ombudsman.
Whatever. The advocate is appointed by the commissioner. The advocate has 4 responsibilities. 1, assist taxpayers in resolving problems with the IRS. 2, identify problem areas where the taxpayers have difficulty dealing with the IRS. 3, propose administrative changes within the IRS that might mitigate these problem areas. And 4, identify potential legislative changes that might mitigate these problem areas. Installment agreement modification, where IRS enters into a paid installment agreement with taxpayers to facilitate the collection of taxes. It must notify said taxpayer within 30 days if such agreement is modified or terminated for any reason other than the collection of the tax is determined to be in jeopardy. Additionally, the IRS must establish procedures for independent administrative review of installment agreements that are modified or terminated. Interest and penalties abatement. The IRS is directed to abate interest penalties against the taxpayer caused by an unreasonable error or delay on the part of the IRS management.
This is all forcing the IRS to move as fast as it can, because everyone knows you do your best work when you're under the gun.
Right.
Other provisions, re-examination of joint and several liability for spouses filing joint returns, flexibility in moderating collection activities according to level of compliance, and a number of other provisions that boast taxpayers standing relative to the IRS in legal disputes.
Yeah. They had been pretty heavy-handed up to that point.
Revenue positions of the Small Business Job Protection Act of 1996. Small business expensing increased the $17,500 of qualified depreciable property allowable for expensing or immediate write-off to $25,000. Social Security tax credit applicable to Social Security taxes paid with respect to employee cash tips. Pension simplification provisions. Included here are provisions allowing contributors to the spousal IRA for non-working spouse, thus doubling potential maximum contributions from $2,000 to $4,000 for eligible participants. Simplifying distributions from small business pension plans, tightening of non-discrimination provisions, eliminating special aggregation rules applying to self-employed individual plans, and reform of miscellaneous pension rules governing state and local special job status or professional individuals. Sorry, some of this is kind of like tongue twister.
Yep.
Revenue provisions of the Health Insurance and Portability Act of 1996. we're never going to get out of 96 at this point. Medical savings accounts offered these IRA
Yep.
like vehicles for the tax advantaged accumulations of assets
Which
against
only works if
possible-
you have excess income and.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that's being held up a lot on the right as an answer to right. Well, what are you going to do to replace the Affordable Care Act? Health savings accounts, which is great for everyone who gets to not put away any money at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Offered these IRA-like vehicles for the tax-advantaged accumulation of assets against possible medical expenses for employees covered under an employer-sponsored high-deductible plan, e.g. at least $1,500 deductible, of a small employer and self-employed individuals, regardless of size of the entity for which they perform work. Individual contributions to an MSA are deductible within limits. In determining a GI above the line, additionally, employer contributions are excludable from gross income. Health expense deduction increased for self-employed. Treatment of long-term care services and accelerated death benefits, income tax exemption for state-sponsored health organizations covering high-risk individuals, IRA withdrawals for healthcare expenses, made such withdrawals penalty-free.
So we're beginning to see the collapse of the medical for the old,
Right.
because
Well,
that's who has.
and for the working
Yeah,
folks.
but they're going to be unemployed in a week. They're not going to have their.
Yeah.
Group health plan requirements applied and enforced plan provisions to ensure genuine portability.
You can hear our goose out there, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure that the microphone actually picks it up.
Yeah.
Taxpayer Relief Act of 1997. Thank God, New Year. This is a long one. Child tax credit introduced a child credit of $500 per child per year. Education tax credit introduced the Hope and Lifetime Learning non-refundable education credits. The Hope credit is the maximum
Okay.
of taxable income, or $1,500 per student for at most the first 2 years of school. The Lifetime Learning Credit is the maximum of 20% of taxable income, or $1,000 per taxpayer return rather than per student, with no limit on the number of years claimed. Estate and gift tax reductions boosted the present law unified credit beginning in 1998 from $600,000 per person to $1 million by 2006. Also indexed other estate and gift tax parameters, such as $10,000 annual gift exclusion, to inflation after 1998. Capital gains rates reduction. Reduced capital gains tax rate from 28% to 15% to 20% and 10% respectively. IRA modification extended AGI phases out for deductible IRAs, allowed tax-free withdrawals for first-time home purchases, created new Roth IRAs and educational IRAs. Alternative minimum tax reductions repealed the AMT for small business, those averaging less than 7.5 million in gross receipts in the prior 3 years. Modified the depreciation adjustment used in the AMT calculation and repealed the AMT installment method adjustment for farmers. Excise taxes phased.
An important one there we went past. The allowing penalty-free withdrawal for the purchase of a house from your IRA. Right? So now you can see the real estate companies getting worried because we're beginning to squeeze people.
And this is
Right?
96.
And they're beginning to have to make choices
No, this is
about,
97.
do I buy a house or do I contribute to my IRA?
Yeah.
Right? So anyway.
Black Hawk Down happens.
Excise taxes phased in 30 cents per pack increase in cigarette tax, extended air transportation excise taxes.
Of course.
Surface Transportation Revenue Act of 1998. Motor fuels tax extension extended current taxes on varieties of motor fuel through 2003. 18.3 cents per gallon in gasoline, 24.3 cents per gallon on diesel and kerosene, and 13.6 cents per gallon of propane, and 11.9 cents per gallon of liquefied natural gas, among others. And the last one, I'm sorry, y'all. I know this is really dry, but it's kind of important to like get through it, and then we'll see.
It lets you see
what
where we're kind of headed, right?
Right, and then we can see what it does to the actual tax
Okay.
rates at the end.
Yeah.
So just one more, and we can move on to the more interesting part. Internal Revenue Service Restructuring Act of 1998. Mission Statement Revision directed IRS to revise its mission statement to provide greater emphasis on serving the public, replace three-tier geographic organization with a structure that features operating units geared around different types of taxpayers and their specialized needs, created an independent appeals function within the IRS Oversight Board, created board to oversee the administration, management, and conduct of the IRS, ensuring that the organization and operations of the IRS allow it to properly carry out its mission, appointment and duties of IRS commissioner and other appointed personnel, gave oversight board authority to recommend candidates who should have strong management background to the president for appointment to a statutory 5-year term instead of a non-specific term, with the advice and consent of the Senate. President can still select and remove candidates. Taxpayer Advocate rule revision. Taxpayer Advocate now to be appointed by Secretary of the Treasury, limited the advocate's former and future involvement with the IRS, and provided clear definitions and limits on the scope of taxpayer assistance orders and the advocate can issue. Orders that the advocate can issue, excuse me. So, that's that.
Cool.
We also passed the Graham-Leach-Bliley Act, which repealed Glass-Steagall, which set the stage for crazy time investments in the 2000s.
Yeah. We just set up the 2008 crash.
I also noticed, because it was part of the Financial Modernization Act, that tends to be what we name stuff when we're fucking up.
Yeah.
Like the Postal Service Modernization Act that
Right. Crippled the Postal Service.
And hey, don't get me wrong, I'm all about it. I just think we should also pass a law that says UPS and everyone else, DHL especially, has to fund their retirement out 75 years.
Absolutely.
All right, how many tax brackets?
3.
4.
There are 3,
Okay.
and they're disgusting.
All right.
Okay.
So 0 plus 15%. 20,000, and this is 1991. So these are the 1990 taxes filed in
Okay.
1991.
The numbers in this are just basically going to double.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is what people were filing in 1991 for the single tax bracket. $20,350. That's a very
So
specific
40,000 up.
28%.
Okay.
And then 49,300 and up, 31%.
Yeah.
Do you know who that hurts more than the people at the very, very top?
And people right there
Those
at the edge.
people making $49,300. Well, not really, because it's
They always get more for every dollar made, but yes. But notice that we're lumping together a whole bunch of middle management and doctors
people
and
who do
so forth.
stuff. Architects.
We're lumping them together with the ultra rich.
The people you could write Local Kid Does Good about.
Yeah.
Instead, now who can hide behind that?
The
Oil
ultra-rich.
barons.
Yeah.
Money unimaginable. And again, we don't even know what their income is because the stocks aren't reported accurately.
Well, and because they hide a lot of their income.
Oh yeah. But they hide
So
it.
cool.
Things
What
like the
was it in
Panama Papers, not the
99?
Swiss.
Okay, so 1999. How many tax brackets?
Still have 3?
2.
We are up to 5 tax brackets.
I
Whoa.
wonder who lost a fight. Or did we just
Not really. They
cut
just
the slices thinner?
moved it around a little bit. So at $0 and up, 15%. $25,750, 28%.
Yeah.
$62,450 and up is 31%.
Oh.
$130,250 is 36%. And then $283,150 and 93.6%.
How much? What was the rate?
283,150 at 39.6.
Okay. So, here what we had through the 90s, where we were spending like drunken soldiers, right? And so
Well, and the Cold War's over, so we have no we got security threats, but
Yeah.
fully embraced the two Santa Claus theory,
yep.
right?
This is when the Republicans realized they could do tax cuts and other things. The
Yep.
Democrats have given up on any legislative victories, so they're doing a lot of it by needling around in the tax code.
Yeah.
Because that, and again,
Down
we
at the
still have
bottom
earmarks.
end, which is,
Well,
I'm okay with working at the bottom end, except
Yep.
you weren't taking care of working folks.
yeah.
You were taking care of poor folks. Okay, fine. Having them be first is fine. Having working folks be not at all that's probably a mistake.
Yeah.
So,
That's how you cause a revolution, according to everyone who's ever studied
so
the
these were
subject.
the egregious tax increases that the Republicans are still talking about.
Yeah, but you have to remember, what was it? 2 decades before this, they were paying 91%.
Right.
And then
Or
in the previous
70%,
decade,
or
at the beginning of
50%.
it, they were paying 71 or 72, something like that.
70.
It was around.
And in the
it was
decade
just
before
above.
that, they were paying 50.
Jesus, hell.
So the rich are getting richer. Working folks ain't making no gains at all.
Can we just raise the minimum wage to the poverty line? It's $10.90. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, no, you can see how we've begun to make it incredibly complex, and at least part of that is so we can make arguments amongst our base about the need for the businesses to have a stable tax environment.
Yeah.
When this is also the period where the rich have taken to sending their children for advanced training in bidding at auction for things.
Yeah.
Because that's the only kind of assets that have the tulip craze, right, swings in value.
Yeah. Anyway, so again, the march doesn't quite continue. We
have a massive engine fire at one point.
Right.
we were building a huge deficit and a huge debt. And so we decided to tax the rich a little bit. And we'll see how that turns out in the 2000s.
Yep.
All righty.
Ugh. I'm sorry, folks. This is just wearing me out.
Yep.
It's just
So,
so.
with my understanding, that little bit also would have paid off our debt in a decade.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
You know what? I don't even want to tax the top people
Oh, yeah.
70%. I would just love it if they had to pay, I don't know, 45, 50. I mean, something reasonable,
Yeah.
right? Something
I'd be
that's
satisfied
even
if they
somewhat
paid.
comparable to what we're paying.
I would be satisfied if they paid what the law says they should pay,
oh,
which
no.
many of them don't.
I'm doing the Ghost of Christmas Future, I guess.
Yeah.
I say we tax the billionaires at a rate, and we'll take it down a little bit when they start having a suicide rate of the American farmer.
Okay. I'm in.
I think that's fair. I'm down with that. So we
we
want to
got
go back
Bark
to
again.
91%? I'm down.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
That's that's actually what annoys us about it.
Uh,
Is you merely adapted to the doc. We were
were
born.
born to it.
That's probably no, because part of the problem is our whole lives has been this endless parade of no, but look over here. Here's this one little good thing.
Yeah.
And from that can sprout, well, turns out nothing ever if you watch it, but
which explains
get
your
faster
reaction to the
throughput
president
on
of the
drip
country
experiments.
walking an 11-year-old girl to school.
I'd rather her walk to school the whole week with different members of whatever their scariest
His
little bumpy
security
types
detail. Yeah.
Yeah, let's get Hell's Angels down there.
is, right?
They must have their own version of Hell's Angels. Let's fucking make that shit happen.
Who was president when the little black girl had to walk to
Kennedy.
school? He should have walked next to her.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Imagine
all
how
we
much
did is
difference
fast
that
forward to
would've
the same end, but
But anyway, no.
just sooner.
And again, yeah, no.
No, that'd have been different
Would have been a lot different.
because the Oswald thing makes it all so crazy, right? That
Yeah.
and the Ruby ending, as opposed to right if some shitbird walks out of the crowd and like we are going to fall on your town
Yeah.
like a noise you've ever seen. You're going to see more suits tomorrow morning than exist in all of your finest shops in all the land.
Yeah.
So anyway, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. I'm sorry that some of this is kind of dry, but
Contribute,
it's okay.
help us buy the airship.
Yeah, no. We actually need to get BoomerRex a mic, so I really need you to go hit up our Patreon and join us. He needs his own mic. This isn't working out.
All right, yeah. Well, I try to stay close and talk loud, but you know that.
No, because the problem is that when you're talking certain things, you like to talk very quietly.
It's an incredibly effective rhetorical tool if they're sitting in the room with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Think
Well,
about
maybe
giving a
that's-
lecture.
Yeah.
You're teaching, right?
Yeah.
Talk to an auditorium.
But no, if I could get a microphone in your face so that you want to be loud, all you have to do is lean back. That would be better than what we're doing.
Okay. If you want to try it for the 2000s, don't go through each and every bill. Look at the excise taxes. Look at the tax rates. Look at the, right. A lot of that other
See where the
shit is
screws are
just
coming
shit.
off and where they're going on.
Yeah.
The rest just fills it out enough so the financial reporters feel like they have a really tough job
Yeah.
because they don't read anything and then they just
And
check
make
three
make
numbers
up
in
your
the
own mind, because I'm actually learning things from what you're saying.
That's
Well, no,
what's actually useful. If you translate, I think we should stay with what we're doing.
Okay.
Because you pick out individual things from what just becomes soup for me after a while.
Okay.
Like I hear keywords, right? I hear about like excise tax going down on a fancy thing,
Yeah.
right? Or going up on a thing everyone uses.
Yeah.
So
Funniest thing.
I can see that and track that, but there's other bits that it's gonna, right? I have faith in it knocking loose. Or at least giving you a
like the
springboard.
penalty-free withdrawals from the IRA.
Yeah, which all I got out of that for the medical side,
Yeah.
right, was we're seeing old people becoming really concerned about the Medicare gaps
And having to pay for stuff out of their IRA.
well, and having the quality of living have gone up not very much from the 40s. If you
Yeah.
take out the
Yeah.
top 1% of the 1% who go to the doctor when they sneeze twice.
Yeah.
Because most Americans don't go to the doctor until they can't see out of an eye or they can't feel their right hand. Because it's going to be bad. And whatever it is going to bankrupt you because you don't have any amount of money. That's why no one taxes you very much.
Yeah, no, it's not good. All right, so we love you all. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit that heart button, review us, comment, and yeah, we love y'all. We'll see you back here tomorrow
Send us
night.
more cute stories.
Meanwhile, in Florida, it isn't raining elephants.
It might be
BoomerRexTonight.
by the end.